TV the Star for the Star. Nah, we back at T. Yes, Sarsky. We got another decoded movie, another movie review, another truth in plain sight. We got Captain Nova. Movie just came out on Netflix recently, and it's another futuristic movie, and is furthermore proving the point that the future world that we want is going to take such a toll on the earth that we will be living in Mars in the future. She said, hold on, we're going to be living in Mars. Yes, not another planet that's called Mars. No, the planet that we see as Earth today will be so deserted of resources and life, it will look like the red planet Mars. We're gonna play the trailer, and then we're gonna go into a few of the points or topics of the movie, and I can give a decoded message about each part. I'm smiling because people started liking my videos, started giving me encouragement to keep going and do what I'm doing, man. So I appreciate everybody that take the time out to like and comment and just tune in to your boy. You hear me? They always have in the future where they are sending people from the future to our current time now, as far as trying to stop a certain event or stop the world from quote unquote ending because of the way that mankind is propelling us through into the future. So when they always sending people back in these movies, and then guess who the people. So we have the future government or future society of people sending people back with technology that the government is trying to be able to control right now in our time. But then every time they have it in a movie form, it's all, like I said, it's always that advanced society of the future that's sending people back to our present time. And then in return, we have our government of our present time chasing down and trying to either experiment or research on certain individuals or certain things that come from the future or certain things that may be out of the ordinary of the things that they didn't told the public. And this is why the government with UFOs and aliens and Area 51, this is why they keep all that shit under wraps, because they told the public, or they told the majority of the population, that none of this shit is really real. None of this shit is real. Only thing is real is God, Jesus, and the Bible. Ain't nothing else nowhere besides where we can get to. And say, who is we? The people that NASA, all them people that in control of all of these, all of our, not all of our minerals, all of our actual resources that you need to be able to quote unquote go out of space. The space that we're gonna be going out of is the space that we are inherently living in now. You say what that mean? In this movie, let's finish this. I'm gonna go through. See, flying cars, and I want to talk about this too as flying cars. What she said something very interesting in this movie. She said, how do you get around? She said, yeah, anti gravity. Y'all will find out how to do it eventually. How can we have anti gravity vehicles if we have gravity? If gravity is a real thing, They said, hold on, that's how it's anti gravity. No, that's what they call it, an anti gravity. But it's not something. It's not anti gravity. It's hmm. They're reversing the magnetic field. It's anti magnetic. Oh my, oh my God, dude! Everybody knows. Shout out to Bro Sanchez TV. Everybody know when you take two magnets and you place the opposite sides towards each other or opposite sides that don't stick together. What do? They form this invisible barrier that you can't close the magnet in. That's anti gravity. That's anti magnetic. This is how the cars are in the future is going to fly. The same way you can have two magnets sit on top of each other and they won't close and they won't reach the ground. That's going to be the space that we are flying through with our anti-gravity vehicles, our anti-magnetic vehicles. So that's why I say they give us one thing, but in reality they know the opposite, and so they never can come back out and say what they was lying for, as far as space, gravity, and all this other shit. But all of these movies that they illustrating, they research through continues to put in our face that yes, we know about this technology. Yes, this is what we're working on, and yes, this is what it's going to eventually be. And they already know what it's going to do to the planet. And I don't think they're stopping. This whole movie was about the North Pole. Before I seen this movie, I went out and I seen this. I said, "Hold on, I gotta get this, man." This is a North Pole center of the universe dream catcher. I said, "Damn, hold on." That's what I said. I said, "Damn, hold on. Whoever made this gotta know something about something. This ain't the Earth in the middle of this thing. This is the North Pole in the middle of this, and the four corners of this thing is sitting on is the four corners of the Earth. This is flat Earth cosmology. This is certain things that they're not gonna tell us. There's certain things that certain individuals we don't think it's necessary to know that the Earth is really flat, and we not living in a space that's floating in space." Hold on, you see them guns that they just had? Let's see if I can stop it. See them guns right there? These are the guns of the future. Guns of the future will not shoot bullets. Guns of the future will not ultimately kill you just because you shot. I'm not saying they won't have those type of guns, but the guns that they're going to be using is going to be more anti-magnetic guns, anti-time guns. This is why they're going to the North Pole to try to extract certain resources and find out why time stands still at the North Pole. There is no time zone at the North Pole. In Antarctica, there is no time zone. Time stands still. This is why they don't let certain people explore Antarctica. And it's the Antarctic Treaty and all this other shit. But in reality, we know that the ice caps is melting. So what are y'all really doing if y'all don't want people to go out there? So the shit that y'all doing out there is in return melting and heating up the planet. And this is what this movie is about. They were trying to drill a hole deep enough into the ice wall of Antarctica, and they was coming back from the future to let them know that they shouldn't do that because it was gonna have a catastrophic effect on the world. That was going to be massive flooding, and then after the massive flooding, it was going to be extreme heat, and the heat was going to kill off majority of every living organism on this planet. So North Pole. These is the Rothschilds. These is the Bill Gates, and these is them people, type of people right there that know the detriment that they putting on society, and not only on society but the planet itself, and they don't care. because they looking towards the future as being a self-built heaven for the people on earth. This is what the future is. They're building their heaven on earth. People think they're lying, saying that they doing it for the collective of the whole population, but in reality, it's only going to be these a small group or those blood families that going to be able to actually reap the benefits of a lot of this futuristic shit. And this is why they already have them a backup plan when shit goes wrong. Not if, but when shit go wrong, they got a backup plan. And this is why I say most of the population, or this is why they say most of the population will be killed off. Because most of the population, they're going to leave to be killed off because they didn't extracted everything that they can possibly extract from the earth. Why do they said this movie was at the present time, I think they said it was like 2028 at the latest, and then they was coming from maybe it was 2026 or something like that. In between 2025 and 2028, it doesn't matter really. And it was the people that was coming, the girl that was coming from the future, she was coming from 2048. And I want to know that in all of these futuristic movies, for the most part, they always span in between 20 years from the 2020s, which we live in now, going into the second year of the year 2020, into the next 20 years. So it could be 2040 or 2050. But by 2050, it can guarantee that the future that people think ain't here already is going to be right and it's going to be knocking at their door. And when the future is knocking at your door and you don't know how to go about maneuvering, you're going to continue to be susceptible to take on all of those other new technological systems that they're going to be implementing into the human. Sure land on that one. Captain Nova. Exactly. What exactly? Come on now. Everybody know what a supernova is. You don't know what a supernova is? That's when I know when a star explode. This is what she did when she came into this atmosphere and tried. When she came back into the present, was just breaking through the atmosphere through her spaceship. This is what she did. She was a star exploding. A star exploding can be when people have that thought or that light bulb that goes off in your head when you know you didn't figure out something. That's a supernova. We have supernovas within our lifespan multiple times, but they got us in this illusion that we have to look up to see certain things. But in reality, everything that's happening as above, so below. If you don't know what that meaning is, you may need to do a little more research. But everything that's happening up is happening down, and everything that's happening down is happening around. And if we are the species and one of the species that's living in this occupied space around, we are as above, so below. This is why they give us things up in the sky for us to believe, because they know for a fact most of the population won't have the ability to, let's say, become an astronaut and learn CGI and be able to put together computer generated images and all this shit and then continue to feed lies to the rest of the population. If you're an astronaut, why can't you go back and tell your family what you done quote unquote seen? Why is that such of a big disclaimer? If it's real, right? They don't tell police officers not to go home and tell their wife that they just had to shoot an innocent person or they had to take a person to jail. That's not something that is frowned upon. But when you get in a certain upper echelon of information, the shit that they're not telling the rest of the population, it make those people that got that information feel entitled. So now they feel like they don't have to give that information to the ones that's below them because it's below they y'all pay grade. And this is why they keep making these movies, these futuristic movies, and it's always about a man and a woman, or a woman or young kids. It's always a couple, and it's always young kids, and it's always a younger. So you know that it ain't gonna be none of us grown people in the next 10, 20 years that's gonna be able to make a difference. It's gonna be our children, and it ain't gonna be hundreds or thousands of our children that's gonna come together. No, it's only gonna be less than 100 of our children that's gonna be able to come together and die and stand for something. Know why? Because we got most of our kids being recreated in this world by kids. So when we have kids having kids, then we grow up and we raise them like kids. We don't even raise them like cattle anymore. See, our parents was grown enough for the most part when they had us, or mature enough for that era that they grew up in, the 70s, the 80s, the 60s, and shit like that, where they raised us a certain way to be used for the system. Now we raising our kids in this day, where most people are raising their kids to basically not give a fuck about the system, but they in return they don't know what else to give a fuck about. So if you're raising them, showing them that you really don't care for the system because look how the system did you, so you don't really care for it, then in return you don't have anything else to show your child as far as what the future is going to be like and what type of mindset we should have in the future. We're going to always be in this backward spiral, but this is the last time for that. Ain't no more backward spiral. Ain't no more going into matrix and different shit like that, or different illusion. This last illusion is gonna be the final act, and it won't have to be no repetitive cycle of gang violence and all of this famine and pollution. No, why? Because they're taking everybody into the metaverse once they turn this Earth into a Mars, into a science fiction type planet. In this movie, the little when she got back from her mission, because she had quote unquote failed the first time, and dude didn't believe her, because the whole point of this movie is the dude that was sitting in the thing, one of the rich dudes, and his son was the one that came up with this idea to suck all these resources out of the North Pole, aka Antarctica. So when the son of the future, so the son in the present day was the one that basically came up with the idea, like I said, to go and drill in Antarctica. So he lived to see what his actions actually did. So guess what he did? He sent one of his colleagues or somebody, or one of his friends, associates, whoever the hell you want to call her, the girl Nova. He sent Nova back to the present day. He sent Nova back to the future to tell his present day self not to do what he was doing. But she failed the first time because he didn't believe her. Because know why? He was so sentimentally attached to his father. And his father was this Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos type person, where they don't really care about the population. They put it off as if they doing everything for population and for pollution and shit like that. But in reality, the shit that you creating is a detriment to the same shit that you say you helping. So all the money that you pump it into the shit is all money. You're doubling that money by getting it back when the shit continues to pollute and depopulate certain things or certain ways of living. So the first time when he went there, it was a failure. So when she went back to the future, she realized that she had to go back. But when she came back to the future was in 2048. She had a husband and a son. I said, damn, hold on. Because she didn't, I guess in her mind, she didn't have a son first, but when they sent her back in time, the little boy that I think his name was Ash or something like that, the little boy that was helping her through her whole journey of basically trying to stop them from drilling, it rewrote the future. So when she got back to the future, she was in a relationship with that same young boy from the present day, or AKA Back to the Future. So she had a son by that person. So I guess they kind of got more infueled her to have to go back and complete the mission. But the whole point is, before that, she left and went back to the present day Earth. She took the boy outside, and then, like I said, this is the modern day Mars. If nobody's seen what Mars looked like, or what they, it's a red planet. So in all these futuristic movies, they always show it look more orangish red out there. The air is polluted. The goddamn ground is polluted. You can't grow anything. So when he went out, when she took the boy outside, they had to wear hazmat suits and all that type of shit just to go outside. When she took him outside, what did they find? I don't know. The boy found a dead bird. Not a dead bird how we think look at a dead bird. It was just a skeleton of a dead bird, but it still had the shape and the wings of a bird, just like spread it out like it just had got fried or just flash fried right then there wherever it was at. And she was telling them that these are birds and they used to fly through the air, and the boy couldn't actually envision that. No, why? Because he never seen anything flying through the air besides people in these anti-gravity cars. She's never seen animals, never seen grass, never seen trees. And guess what she told him? She said, "Yeah, we had everything. We just wanted more than what the Earth can give us." And a lot of people think that's why a lot of people don't pay attention to the elements that's outside of us and how we are losing certain elements to our natural life. And the more that we lose these natural elements in the future, we won't even be able to remember what certain things felt like doing, because we strayed away from it long before it was actually gone. This is Captain Nova. Just a review. The code, call it what you want. Let me see if I'm missing anything before I close up. Let me see. Y'all see it, man? Yes, sirski. That's why I say, if you ain't trying to be in the future, you won't be in the future. If you don't see yourself in the future, you won't be in the future. This is a future hairstyle. This is a future style. This is a future trend, man. Once people start seeing different people do different things with their look, and not on no LGBTQ type shit, and just embracing your natural culture and bringing tradition back into our culture, instead of just sagging, smoking weed, toting guns, fucking bitches, wearing dreads and golds and shit, and tattoos all over our face. Yes, start to be a little bit more creative and a little bit more original, man. This is where the future is taking us. The future is taking us away from originality and taking us closer and closer to unnatural ways of living. Let's see real quick. And at the end, like I said, so, yep, this is it. Cool. So when she went back to the future after she had that little outing with her son and tell him about what birds and how the world used to be and how we mistreated this planet, and now we got the shit end of the stick that we have to raise kids through, and we were the ones that were a detriment to the future planet that our kids got to live in. A lot of people don't pay attention to that. That's why a lot of people don't think it's really like that. But a lot of people, in reality, it's really fuck them kids. Because if you don't understand where the future is going and you having kids or you have multiple kids, it's really fuck them kids then. Because if I was a slave, an African slave, I wouldn't have been having no kids in the slavery if I know they're gonna have to be born into slavery. Now, if they being forced to have children and different things like that, that's a whole other thing. But willingly just get in relationship with other slaves to have other slave kids, I wouldn't have did that. I would have died long before I was able to even get into a loving relationship with a woman and then have some sentimental value. Feel like I want to live longer in this situation just because. This is why they put all of these things in front of us, so we feel like we want to live longer for the things that for the new things to come. People don't want to die because they think shit is going to be newer when they dead. Of course, Of course, there's always gonna be something new after somebody gone. Just like after a rapper dies, there's always a new rapper that's gonna come and do the same shit and then die. And then the same thing, and same thing, and same thing, and same thing. They have us living in this repetition of a lifestyle, and that's not the way of living. We're supposed to change with the seasons. We're supposed to migrate with the animals, man. We supposed to flow with the river. Last but not least, at the end, they showed when she went back that they had to forcibly stop them from doing that. So they came back and tried to talk to him again, and the son this time realized what he was doing. So before his dad, not that, before he like confirmed to that he wanted to do it, he looked at his dad because now they was at the North Pole. Now they was at their little location where they was gonna press the button to start the drill, and that was gonna basically start the ticking time to the end of the world. And his son looked at his dad and said, "I don't think we should do this." And then his son looked, his dad looked at him and like, "No, why? Because you're just a coward." And then next thing you know, the people, Nova and the other boy came from the future in they anti-gravity spaceship to confront them. So as they talking to him and stuff like that, and this is why I said that one scene when they were pointing the two guns, that was that exact scene where they was confronting the father and the son about the things. And they even went to tell the father the same thing that they already knew, that this was going to be catastrophic to the world. And what the father said, he said, "You don't know nothing. You just thinking about yourself, and you're going to be living so rich and so lavish in the future. You're going to thank us for doing this." But in reality, she already seen the future. She was already living in the future and seeing that it wasn't nothing lavish or luxury about living in a modern day Mars. We're gonna have to use force to stop certain things from happening. And what I mean by that, they had to shoot them with them anti-gravity or anti-time guns. You say anti-time? Yeah, they shoot them with this thing, and it just goddamn freeze they ass for a couple of hours. And they said, guess what it made them do? It said it made them think about their life, made them think about their career, made them think about their whole life while they just sitting there froze. It's like you dead, but you still alive, and you get to think about like, what if I was dead, not being able to move? I guarantee that would make a lot of people goddamn think about the shit that they was doing, instead of having to ultimately be really violently killed to go to have that awakening on their way out of their body. It's been real. TV La Star for the Star Nah. We gone.